Yeah, right guys, hope you're all okay out there. Well, it doesn't get much simpler than this. Rustic bread with just 4 ingredients. 500 grams of strong bread flour, 400 ml of cold water, 5 grams of yeast and 7 grams of salt. Okay then, here we go with quite possibly the most simple bread you will ever make. Time consuming, but simple. I'm using a large Pyrex dish for this, just because I want to fold things over later, you'll see. Get the flour in, make a little well. I don't know why I made a well, because the water went everywhere, but it's a bit like a pasta dough to start off with. Sprinkle the yeast all over and start mixing. You can use your fingers. I just use a spoon. A bit like pasta dough, just bring the edges in to the water. A little bit at a time. Make it into a slurry. I mean, sound like a builder here, like, you know, but yeah, because it gets thicker and thicker. And then pull the edges in, pull the sides in, get the flour out of the corners, and all of a sudden you will have a dough that looks something like this. What do they call it? A shaggy dough, that's it. But this is really, really wet. Believe me, it's probably one of the wettest doughs you'll ever make. Sprinkle the salt over the top and carry on mixing. And you will end up with a very, very shaggy wet dough looking something like this. Put a cover on it, a damp tea towel, cling film. I used a bit of baking parchment and leave it for an hour. And after an hour it looks totally different. Okay then. Probably the most soggy, messy, gooey dough you've ever seen. But this is what we want. What we're going to do now is fold every edge, every corner into the centre, but you need really, really wet hands for this. Stretch it and pull it in, stretch it and pull it in. From all the cardinal points, if you like. It really is gooey. And just keep going, folding over, pulling over, tugging it. We're just stretching the gluten a little bit, that's all we're doing. This is why we use really strong bread flour. Cover it again and leave it for yet another hour. Great recipe for when you've got other things to do. And here we are, an hour later. And you're probably thinking, that looks very similar to last time. But by doing what we did an hour ago, we've helped all the gluten strands get organised and sort themselves out. So now we're going to tip it out onto a very, very well floured surface. Normally with bread, you see, don't add too much flour when you're kneading and stuff like that. You need a lot of flour with this one. It is so wet. And all we're doing now is stretching the dough into a rectangle. And then folding it over lengthwise. Is it lengthwise? Widthwise? I don't know. Folding it over into a log, basically. Top third down. And then bottom third up. It doesn't need much persuading to stay together. Very sticky. And when you've got your log, just fold over a third of the left hand side and a third of the right hand side over the top. Stretch it out a little bit and then repeat. And already the gooey mess that was there an hour ago is looking a bit like a bread dough. So we roll it over again, fold it over again. give it a quick shaping and cover it again for another 15 minutes or so. Every time you work the bread you want to leave it for a bit. Yeah, looking alright. One more quick folding and we're almost there. Onto a lined and floured baking tray. Try and lay it a bit diagonal if you like. Yeah, there you are. Give it a good dusting with flour. Gives it that rustic look. Sometimes the flour burns a little bit, makes it go a bit more golden brown. And give it a slash down the side. I used a well-watered knife for this. If you don't water the knife, the dough sticks to it. You can see it just to the end there, with it's tearing a bit there. Look. Okay, so wet the knife really well. By making a slash like this, it gives the dough a direction to travel in. Makes it even more rustic. Okay, in the oven, 230 Celsius for 30 minutes. But as always, give it the old tappity test, top and bottom, and if it sounds hollow, it's ready. Get the loaf onto a rack to start cooling. Don't think about cutting it just yet. It needs to cool quite a bit so the steam stays inside the bread, otherwise you'll end up with a dry loaf.
Oh, yes. Lovely. Looking good.
That's nice. Rustic bread. And the best part is there's no sugar in it. That's a good one. Yeah. That's a keeper. Hope you enjoy this one, guys.